For our next keynote, please welcome the CEO of Target, Brian Cornell.
Well, good evening. So I thought I might start tonight by talking about choices. And it doesn't really matter if you're part of a decade-old, multi-billion-dollar company or a startup trying to raise the next round of financing. We all know the world we live in is changing. It's changing fast. Consumer preferences, behavior, and expectations. And I'm certain that at some point, all of you will find yourself at a crossroad where your business model and your customer expectations begin to diverge. So what do? A few years ago, we launched a designer partnership for the ages, Target and Lilly Pulitzer. Our guests lined up early and picked the shelves clean. But heavy demand brought our website to its knees. So what do? How do you prevent something like that from happening again? One very real consideration at the time was to simply take all of our limited time offers offline. Insist that if you wanted to shop the collection, you had to come into our stores. Or who remembers when Amazon launched its price checking app? Scan a barcode and match any item at any store. If you're Target, this wasn't exactly great news. So what do? Do you block the app? Do you shut down all the Wi-Fi in our stores altogether? These are some of the ideas that really got kicked around. What about the rise of on-demand services? Whatever you want, delivered to your doorstep. The Target run is our bread and butter. The whole, I came in for a tube of toothpaste and left with $100 worth of stuff I didn't really know I needed. Well, that trip, it was a real thing. Why would we encourage folks not to visit our stores? Why forfeit the incremental sales that come with the discovery that's so part of our equation? So 3 big challenges to our business model. 3 very important strategic choices. But here's the thing. These weren't tough decisions at all, because our guests had already decided for us. Their expectations around transparency, speed, simplicity, ease, convenience, they had changed. Technology was just the accelerant. So instead of defending our traditional models, resisting that change, we chose to embrace it. Instead of taking limited time offers offline, we built a better digital experience. We invested in capacity, stability, a phenomenal UX. So shopping our digital channels feels just like shopping our stores. Instead of blocking the Amazon app or pulling the plug on Wi-Fi, we built an even faster network. We developed Cartwheel. We leaned into mobile and new payment methods. We transformed our pricing models so our guests can shop with confidence and know that we're priced right daily. And what about that Target run? Well, today, I can tell you, it is easier than ever and completely done on our guest terms. They can drive up or drop in. In fact, they can skip the trip altogether and go straight to their phones or their smart speaker. With Google Home, you don't even have to type. We'll deliver an order to our guest doorstep or carry it right to their kitchen table. Today, it's totally up to them. Our guests don't want to have to make choices or trade-offs. What they want are options. They love to shop. Our job is to make it easier than ever. Make it more enjoyable. Make it more fun. And ensure that every single Target trip, well, it's worth the trip. A few weeks ago, We spent a day with our investors, laying out a multi-year plan. It's aimed at modernizing every dimension of our business. We've got a ton of work to do, and a lot underway. But it really comes down to a very few important steps. It starts with investing in our team, the people who take care of our guests every day. That means taking a leadership position on higher wages, but also adding more payroll hours in our stores and hiring and training for specialized service. We're also creating more connected physical and digital shopping experience. We're reinventing our entire portfolio of own brands and exclusive brands. So far, we've rolled out more than a dozen. Our latest partnership with Hunter debuts next month. And finally, we're reimagining our 1,800 stores as hubs for commerce and for community, creating better showrooms for shopping, offering more fulfillment options than anyone else, closing the last mile from days to now only minutes. Today, our guests can pick up an order in our store or drive up, and within 2 minutes, we'll put it in their trunk. We just announced free 2-day shipping. We're rolling out same-day delivery in several major cities with Grand Junction. And I couldn't be more excited about where we're headed with Shipt. We acquired the Birmingham-based startup in December with a goal of becoming the first retailer to offer same-day delivery nationwide. Now, sure, we could have tried to build this capability in-house, but Shipt already had a loyal membership base and a roster of great retail partners, from Myers to Publix to H-E-B. The operation is strong, and it's proving to scale, from 1 market to more than 70 in its first 3 years. It's a company built on speed, but importantly, focused on service. What truly sets Shipt apart is its people and the relationships they're building with their customers. So tonight, I want to introduce you to Shipt's founder, Bill Smith. We'll sit down and have a conversation with Cowen's own Oliver Chen and talk about how we're making Target America's easiest place to shop. So please welcome Bill and Oliver to the stage.
Thank you, and thank you to the Shop Top community for having us. Thank you, Brian Cornell. This was really an amazing opportunity.
Thanks for joining us.
So, first of all, how many of you love to shop at Target? I do too. This is a Goodfellow tie, so I'm wearing Target's finest. Excited to be here. What has really happened in retail is this revolution in convenience. Can you talk about how you're a leader here and what the Shipt deal was all about in terms of rationale and timing and why?
Yeah, well, why don't I start, Oliver? And as you know, we've spent a lot of time really trying to understand today's consumer and those 30 million guests who shop our stores every week. And we've recognized that while our guests love to shop our stores, and it's why we're spending so much capital and time remodeling the store experience, opening up stores in new metro markets, we also know that some days they're looking for another choice, back to the choices. They'd like to order online and just conveniently come by and pick up that order. We've learned this year that they also love the idea that they can place an order and pull into our parking lots, and a couple minutes later, we'll put it right in their trunk. But we also recognize that there is a consumer and a guest that would love that same-day offering. The ability to say, here's my shopping list, and can you bring it to my home in the next couple of hours? So as we looked at the consumer landscape, we looked at the feedback from our guests, we recognized how important this same-day component was going to be. And we wanted to make sure we could do it nationwide. And we looked at different options, and then we met Bill Smith. and recognized that their model was all about this relationship that they were building. It was all about the people that was serving their members. And we thought it was a great step for us to provide even more choices and make Target easier and easier to shop. So it really was a response to what we were hearing time and time again from the consumers we talk to all the time.
Bill, that builds us on another question. How does Target fit into your vision of Shipt? And also Shipt is a marketplace model that works with other retailers. So how does that manifest for customers and your relationship with Target?
Well, Target really provided jet fuel for Shipt to really realize the vision that we set out to build. There's 30 million customers a week visiting Target stores, and when you think about building a consumer business and building a marketplace, one of the hardest components is customer acquisition. Yeah. And Target provided this huge base of guests that can now shop the Target marketplace and shop all of our partners.
What's very interesting is the origins of Shipt. Can you tell us a little bit about how this got started and your own pain points in shopping?
So when I started, the story with Shipt is pretty funny. So my wife and I had a 1-year-old and a newborn, and we made our first trip to the grocery store. And literally both kids are crying in the store, and it was this huge pain point. And so in the parking lot of the store, I told my wife, I said, I'm going to figure out a way to solve this problem. You know, we buy everything else online. Why can't we get groceries delivered? And that's really what led to the creation of Shipt.
Interesting. So Brian, as we think about Target and the future of Target, America's easiest place to shop, being customer and guest-centric, we have a lot of competition here. Walmart with 4,000 locations, and Amazon being a bricks and clicks competitor. So how will Target be different? How will Target be customer-centric in this context?
Yeah, Oliver, as we think about the future, we think our stores play this very important role. In fact, I've talked a lot about kind of our stores being kind of the hub of our strategy. And we're in 1,800 neighborhoods, and we're moving into new neighborhoods all the time now. And those stores being both a place for commerce, but also just part of the community. And when I go into consumers' homes and I listen to how they talk about our brand, they always talk about the neighborhood Target store. They always talk about our team. So our investment, our strategy really starts with an investment in our team and in each one of these communities and neighborhoods where we operate. So our stores become a great place to shop. And when you're there, we want it to be an inspirational experience. We want to make sure we offer great service. But in today's environment, we know our stores can play multiple roles. So when you place that order and want to come by later in the afternoon and pick it up at a convenient Target store, well, our team members will be there ready with your order. On that rainy day when mom has 2 little ones in the back seat of the car, and she doesn't want to get them out and put coats and gloves and hats on, well, within 2 minutes, we'll have one of our team members leveraging that store out in the parking lot, putting in the trunk. We use our stores as fulfillment centers. Over 1,400 stores is where we pick, pack, and work with FedEx or UPS to deliver that last mile in the neighborhood. And now, with Shipt, the team will be shopping our stores and interacting with the end user to let them know the order's complete, is there anything else you want to add on, and driving that last mile to put it right on their kitchen counter.
That brings up a lot of good points about physical plus digital, also the changing role of labor in the stores, because the people in the stores have very different roles today, whether it be ship packages, but they also have to be very guest-centric. So how are you thinking about labor in this new economy?
Yeah. Well, I would tell you, Oliver, I think one of the single biggest changes we've made and will continue to make is really how we invest in our team. And we've been really proud about the fact that we've taken a leadership position in wages. And just the other week, you were at our conference when we said we're going to raise our starting wage to $12. But it's more than just wages. We're investing a lot in hours and staffing, in training and development, and creating experts within our stores. Because we know, as we listen to the guests, in certain categories, they want someone there who's an expert. When they shop Target for beauty, they want a beauty expert that they're talking to. In apparel, they want someone who can not only help them find their size, but put the whole outfit together. when they're in a department like food and beverage, they want a food and beverage expert that they can interact with, let alone when they're shopping for technology. So we're investing in expertise in those core departments where the consumer expectation is for a great experience and the interaction with a knowledgeable employee.
Bill, that's a big part of Shipt as well in terms of a really human one-on-one experience. Could you articulate how that manifests? And it's a special part of the core competency that you offer consumers.
This is really the most special part of Shipt, and this is where we're really untouchable, is we have focused on building a high quality customer experience. And that starts really with our shopper community. We put people first at Shipt, and we've been able to build a brand and a culture that's now scaled to almost 50,000 shoppers that work on our platform around the country. So when you order from any of the retailers on the Shipt platform, the same person that is picking your avocados and selecting your eggs is the person that shows up at the door. So we've been able to create that one-to-one connection and also accountability between the person that's picking the items is the same person that shows up in your kitchen. And that's what we hear from our members all the time that they love about Shipt.
Yeah. Oliver, it was why we were so attracted to this great company that Bill had created, is we spent time certainly looking at the technology platform and how they were working with Meijer or Publix or H-E-B, but we spent a lot of time with their shoppers.
Yes.
And seeing how important that relationship was and looking at their ratings. And one of the things that Bill said to me early on was, no, Brian, these are moms shopping for other moms. And they don't want to disappoint. They know that when they get to that person's home, they want to make sure they pick the right avocados and they've completed the list accurately and it's a great experience. And that's what Target's all about. We really think that human interaction, that human touch, well, that's what's going to separate us from some of the other competitors.
Yes.
So that philosophy of making sure it's a great experience. And now we have all of these, we've got now thousands and thousands of shoppers who actually love Target, shopping for other people who love Target.
Yeah.
And that's a magical connection for us as we go forward.
We have a really special audience here as well with a diverse constituency. So in our closing question, what are your thoughts about key lesson learned for the community here as we all think about retail and how to navigate this environment, Brian and Bill?
Bill, why don't you start?
You know, I think especially for larger companies, it's easy to let things get in the way of just giving the customer what they want, you know, and just thinking about what they need and delivering that for them. And so thinking about the customer first and kind of setting aside all the old systems and processes and things that are in place that sometimes are against the customer and just figuring out how to meet their needs. And companies that do that are going to be successful.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think this is all about continuing to listen to that customer, understand their expectations, also what their pain points are, and how do we meet their needs? And how do we recognize that for today's consumer, they just simply shop differently. And we've got to make sure we leverage our assets and our brands to meet their needs. So we think we're incredibly well positioned to take this iconic Target brand forward into the future and make sure we just continue to provide different options, different choices for our guests, and make Target America's easiest place to shop.
You've also done a great job balancing the art and the science of retail and thinking about your own brands as well as tools. What's ahead for your own brands, and also what's on your mind in terms of the future of technology as it applies to your store with Target Labs?
Yeah, well, let me start with brands. And we have this great history of creating our own proprietary, our own brands. And we want to continue to build that going forward and build it with the guest as a partner, but also make sure we continue to curate great national brands. So when you think about Target and you think about our history, I use the term and. It's really been the power of and. You know, how do we take our own brands and great national brands? How do we combine experience and the importance of value, which is still a huge expectation as you and I have talked about?
Yes.
How do we bring the best of specialty in those departments like beauty, but also leverage our mass merchandising skills? So it's got to be a balance of both. And how do we blend both the physical experience and that digital experience in a way that meets the needs of that guest and end consumer we serve? So I really believe it's the power of and. It's not one or the other. It's when we do both hand in hand and do it well that we leverage the best of both our physical and our digital experiences, the own brands we create like Goodfellow, and great national brand partnerships that we have. So we're really working on making sure we combine both elements. And when we do that, we're at our best.
Expect more and pay less.
I was going to pay it off that way. And that is the magic. At the end of the day, when we deliver on both the expect more and pay less, we see the guests say, thank you, Target.
And the customer being first, as well as culture, community, and convenience. Yeah. Thank you, Brian.
Oliver, thank you.
Bill.
Great
Thank
to
you
be
so
with
much.
Appreciate it. Have a great conference.